everybody, welcome to the Michael Finkley Show. I'm Michael Finkley. Today is Friday, July 31st, 2020. Y'all, it's Friday. I don't know about you, but this weekend I am going to do me. All right, it's been a week here. My head's hurting from a lot of stuff that I need to do and still have yet to do. But things I've done a lot of, if that makes sense. But y'all, it's the weekend. Relax, chill out, be yourself, do yourself. I'm telling you, relax, okay? If you have not already, please subscribe to our YouTube channel at The Michael Finkley Show. Click that bell for notification and you will receive an email from us about uploaded content to our channel. Again, thank you so much for our subscribers, to our viewers. Again, I love you all. Thank you so much for supporting us in our endeavors. I'm excited because I have some new equipment here. I'm excited. I really am. I bought some new lights. I brought a brand new microphone. So I'm just investing in the vision, right? Because I see myself doing this for a long period of time. So I'm just investing in myself. And I know that eventually that it is going to pay off in the long run. I'm excited. We're going to run with it, right? So today we have Mr. Robert Woodbury. He is a pastor. He's a husband. He's a father. He's a councilman. And also he is running for mayor of Mullins, South Carolina. I tell you a story to tell you, and it's just going to be awesome. Just great. Thank you so much for being on. And when we come back, more with Robert Woodbury. Don't you go away. We'll be right back.
Coming up, we chat with Mr. Robert Woodbury. We'll be right back. On the next Michael Finkley, Monday, we have Mr. Jeffrey Lampkin with us as we talk about his days of American Idol, his radio show, his booming restaurant, and his fight with COVID-19. And we have Mr. Stephen Davidson with us as he talks about a protest almost gone wrong. Find out the details on the next Michael Finkley.
Welcome back to the Michael Finkley Show. Today we have an awesome person with us today. I know him back from high school, and he's been doing some great things within the community of Mullins, South Carolina. He's a father, he's a pastor, he's a councilman, and now he is in the race for running for mayor of Mullins, South Carolina. Without further ado, Mr. Robert Woodbury. Robert.
How's it going? How's it going?
Good. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Good to be here. Thanks for the invitation.
Absolutely. Oh, you're very welcome. Very welcome. So, Robert, I've named some of your titles, but who is truly Robert Woodbury?
All right. Well, I was born in Providence, Rhode Island, but this is the place I call home. Marion County is where I call home. I'm matriculated through Marion County schools. From there, I was employed here in the area, worked in several places in IT and technology over the last 13 years. And from there, I just fell in love with Mullins. You know, I fell in love with what this place is, what this place can be. You know, I fell in love with the people. This is the place where I started my family. So yeah, I'm a pastor. I love people. I love to serve. I love to work in different communities or different parts of the community. That's just who I am. You know, I just love it all.
Definitely. Awesome. And because you say you love just to give back, what are some things that you've done thus far since you have been, you know, that political figure, that spiritual figure within the city of Mullins? So what are some things you've done?
Yeah, absolutely. So I've been pastoring for the last 10 years over at the House of God Church here in the city of Mullins. And so we've been very active in the community, trying to build community relationships and trying to make sure that the people in which we serve are helped in the best way possible, right? It's our goal to improve lives. It's our goal to feed the hungry. You know, it's our goal to make sure that people know of Christ and that their souls can be saved. And so from that just desire to see people's lives impacted and changed for the better. 4 years ago, I started this journey into politics as a city councilman. And so for the last 4 years, I've been serving District 1 and Mullins at large. and trying my best to make sure again that people's lives are impacted. I really saw a need for people being represented, people in my community being represented, making sure that we had a voice, making sure that we had a seat at the table, so to speak, and that the decisions that were being made actually could benefit us. And so that's kind of where everything just started coming together. And so even as a councilman, like I said, my mission remains the same. And so we've really been trying to work hard to make sure that, again, people are served and that people's lives are impacted.
Definitely, because this is what it's all about. You
Yeah,
know,
absolutely.
how we were helping our lives, we have to pay that forward to others. It's all about service. How
Yeah,
can we lead if we never served
that's
before?
right. That's right.
Definitely. Yes,
That's right.
sir.
I believe that 100%.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Robert, your dad, your husband. Talk about your girls.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. Yeah, I'm married to Shaquata Woodbury, my high school sweetheart. We've been married for 10 years. Actually,
Wow.
actually coming to August 7th is going to be our anniversary. So we have big plans. At least the biggest we can get in the midst of COVID-19, but we
Right.
have plans for the family. So we've been married, and it's been a journey. It's been something that's been wonderful. I do have, and she's a second grade teacher,
Hmm.
and so that's kind of a story all within its own. But
Exactly.
I also have three wonderful girls. I have Jada, who is 6, and we have Leah, who is 4, and Madison, who is 2.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
I love family, man. I love family. That's where my heart is. Yeah.
Oh, and it shows. And it shows every time I see you, I see them,
Gotcha.
and
Yeah.
because you are that figure in Mullins,
Hmm.
you all are in the spotlight a lot.
Hmm.
So, and one of those things you talked about as pastor, how has this COVID hit your
Yeah.
congregation, and what are some things that you're doing to encourage them along the way?
Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely been a learning experience, right? I believe that with COVID-19, the way it kind of just fell on us. I'm a firm believer that, spiritually speaking, that if God allows something to happen, if He positions us in such a way, in such a place, I believe that wherever that place is, that He placed you, He put you there to thrive. Right. And so,
Yeah.
along with that, if He put you there to thrive, that means He's going to give you the tools to survive. And so,
Exactly.
what we found is that it's a learning experience, man. We're having to innovate. We're having to really focus on finding alternative ways to meet the needs of the people.
Mhm.
We have some who are heavily involved in social media, some members, and we have some that are not. So we're trying to figure out ways how to keep everyone connected, keep the generations connected, because as you know, in church, as a pastor, and those who minister to people, you're already speaking to multiple generations. Your sermons have to be tailored to reach the older as well as the younger. And so we're trying to find creative ways again to interact. And so we've been going live on Facebook. Our Bible studies have been live on Facebook, and our services have been live on Facebook. And we have some plans to launch some fellowship phone calls to keep those individuals connected that can't really reach out through social media the way that the others can. We also have drive-up services that gives you a chance to kind of physically be on the lot. Of course, it's not the same type of interaction. We're not shaking hands and hugging necks and giving kisses anymore. But, we've learned a lot. We've learned how to be resilient as a church and how to stay connected. As a spiritual leader, we're always talking about making sure we're connected to Christ. And it's just as important to making sure that we're connected to each other, a level of accountability, making sure that the words that have been spoken have really taken root in our heart, because it's in times like this, it's in times of the pandemic, to where we're not able to reach our leaders. You can't reach the pastor the way that you used to. Our counseling sessions are not the same. And so now what you're having to do is reach back on a word that you might have gotten time past, and trying to use that opportunity to keep yourself encouraged. So it's definitely a learning experience, but what I can say is we're learning to innovate. We're learning how to find out ways to just more or less cut the fat and get to the place where God has really called us, and that's to serve people. Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah. And it's a time for innovation.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's definitely
Yeah.
time for innovation by
Yeah.
way
I
of
tell you
church,
what.
by way of work, socializing.
Yes,
We all have to have that spirit of innovation.
absolutely.
And another thing that's happening in the world today, besides the pandemic, you
Yeah.
see the rise of the issue of racism. So, as a Black male in society and person that has quote unquote that status within society, what are your thoughts against that or
Yeah.
with that?
Yeah. It's when all of this really started to um, just come to the forefront here recently with um, the killings of the recent killings of unarmed black men and just African Americans in general. We know it's not something that's necessarily new, but we see that there's a greater focus on it now. And at first, it brought about an anger, as a black man, because at the end of the day, even if we cannot agree on anything else, we ought to be able to agree that number one, we're humans. You're a human, I'm a human being, and we ought to be able to agree at least on that. Let's find common ground there, and let's find common ground on the fact that we're all children of God. And so it brought about an anger, and then it really brought about um, a sadness, because here we are in 2020. Here we are um, in the 21st century, and we're dealing with some of the same issues. And this is not everybody. This is not all of the police. This is no way a blanket statement, but we're dealing with some of the same things that happened, as early as the 15th and the 16th century. And so it brings about a sadness, because this is the time to progress. This is the time to really unify and come together in the midst of a pandemic. But yet we're finding out that there's still so many that are so far from coming together, but yet they're still dividing and being divisive based upon the color of our skin. And so it's really been a tough time in that regard. But of course, I have hope. I trust God. I trust God for our city, for our region. I trust God for our country, that he would heal us, and that he would bring justice, and that he would bring love and unity, that he would bring us together as a nation, so that he can get the glory. And so it's been a time. It's been a time. But in our church, what we've been trying to just to keep people encouraged, not to focus on the hardships of the time, not to ignore them, but not to focus on the hardships of the time, but focus on what God is actually doing now, what He's actually releasing, what He's showing us, what we have access to. Because I think that a lot of times the agenda of the enemy is to keep us blinded from what God is trying to do for us in this season, right? What He's trying to get us to accomplish. And so we've just been trying to keep people uplifted and encouraged in that regard, not to get so bogged down with the negativity and the hatred, but yet find ways that we can be united in love with our fellow man, with our brother, our sister, our cousin, the guy, the woman down the street, the one that you work with, whoever it might be. We got to get back to that.
Definitely, definitely, Robert. Definitely. I understand. And
Yeah,
as you said when you were speaking, that sadness comes.
yeah,
But even in sadness, I always tell people this, that there's always a positive thing.
yeah, absolutely.
But you
Yeah,
have to find it. You really,
yeah.
really have to find it at times.
Mhm.
So, Robert, what are some things that you do for fun? You do
Yeah,
so much for other people and
right. Yeah.
your kids, the church, the city of Mullins. What does
Mhm.
Robert Woodbury do for fun?
Yeah. Listen, I enjoy family. If I can just have time with my family, with my three little girls, as we said before, man, they keep me running. So just spending time with them. My oldest daughter, she loves to play games. She loves to play board games, and she loves to play cards, even if it's making up her own game. She loves to do it. I love to see the smiles on their faces, and I love for them to be happy. So just spending time with my family is what makes me happy. Besides that, I'm a musician, and so I love to spend time with music, with the piano, and that gives me opportunity just to meditate and to focus and to share my heart in a different way. But family and serving God, that's what I'm about, and I actually find joy in that. Yes, sometimes I have to unplug and unplug from people. And sometimes I have to turn off the phone, and sometimes I just have to have time to meditate and have me time. But I find joy in my family. I find strength in my family. So that's what I like to do for fun.
I
Just
love
hang
it.
out. Just hang out. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love it. I love it
Yeah.
because we need it. We need that balance in life. But Robert, when we come back, we're going to talk about that awesome one for me of Mullins. We'll be right back.
Next, Robert talks about his run for mayor. We'll be right back. The Finkley Experience is an educational consulting firm that specializes in first-generation education. We assist parents and their students with the college process. We train school administrators, and we also partner with colleges and universities to assist with their first-generation population. To learn more about our consulting firm and to purchase our book and workbook, please visit our website at thefinkleyexperience.com.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Michael Finkley Show. We are still chatting with Mr. Robert Woodbury. And Robert, you're doing something that other people would love to do, but they're kind of afraid to do, or they just don't want to do, or it's like, let's leave it to someone else. You're running for mayor of
Yeah.
Mullins, South Carolina. Robert, you're young, you're African American. Why? Why are you
Yeah.
running?
Yeah, yeah, that's right. I'm running for mayor. I'm extremely excited about it, and the reason why I'm doing it is because what I've been saying all night, man. I just have a passion to serve people, and as I see the need, as I see people that are underrepresented, and when I see people that are struggling because they need to be represented and need leadership. I'm a firm believer that you have to be the change that you want to see. And so, as much as we need change in Mullins, I want to be the change. I want to be the one that can be used to make sure that that lives can be impacted and that Mullins can be the best place that it can be. And so that's why I'm diving out there. I've seen a lot over these last 4 years on city council. I've learned a lot. I've experienced a lot. I've seen some of our shortcomings. I've seen where the proper leadership and the right presence could have changed a whole lot for a whole lot of people in our city. And so I'm willing to step up to the plate and get it done.
Yes, yes. When you actually announced that you were running, I was just like so excited. I'm like,
Awesome.
no other
Awesome.
person that I know of should do this at this
Appreciate
present
it.
time in this season. Yes,
Hmm.
sir. Yes, sir. So, what
Appreciate
is
it.
your platform? What does
Yeah.
that look like, and what are your plans?
Yeah.
Um,
Absolutely.
we're
Yeah.
speaking this thing to fruition that you're going to get this. So, what are your
That's right.
plans?
Yeah, yeah. Well, the plans and in the agenda that I designed to see for the city and bring before council can really be rolled up into three things. But
Mhm.
before I get to that, there are a lot of issues that we have. There are real issues. We have issues with trash pickup. We have issues with stormwater drainage in our city. We have issues with dilapidated housing, abandoned homes, and grass being cut from private citizens who may or may not be upkeeping their properties. And so there's a lot of real issues that we have that concern people within our city, and they require real solutions. They require us just to get down to them, come up with a plan as a city council, and just to get it done. And so those three things that I was talking about is number one, unity. A lot of what I'm hearing in my time as city council is that our city is divided, and we said it before. And in order for us to come to a place of unity, I know it doesn't happen overnight. I know it doesn't happen, in a year's time. It may not happen in one term. But unity is important. What you need first is trust, right? The trust has to be restored in the community. People have to be able to trust leadership. And so that leadership can guide them and guide the city as a whole into a place of unity. So in order to get trust in anything, it's almost like a marriage, right? It would be a good thing if you could run a marriage off of love and love only. But no, you got to have trust, and that requires open communication. And so first thing we want to do is make sure that we are working to unify our city. There shouldn't be times where we have one ethnic group over here and one ethnic group over there. Even down to our festivals and our city events, even things that we officially or unofficially sponsor as a city, we should be focused on making sure that everybody is represented culturally as best as possible. We ought to make sure that everybody from every district is being represented as best as possible. And so we want to open up lines of communication, make sure that people know that they're being heard, because if citizens know that they're being heard, then they can begin to unify in different ways, because we can find, as we were saying before, that one or two things that we can come together on instead of being divided by. So unity is a big deal, and that's what we're running on platform, unity. And number two is transparency. Again, there are a lot of people that are not trusting city government. I don't know where the money's being spent. What's going on? It seems like everything's a secret. I can't get answers. And so even though there are things in place to request information and get information from local government, I want to make sure that Mullins becomes, and Mullins local government becomes, a government that is transparent, making sure that we go above and beyond what's necessary to get information out to the public. Again, open up the lines of communication, making sure we're hearing back from them, making sure that the citizens know where every penny is being spent. There are other cities our size that are implementing programs that allow you just to go on the city's website and see every dollar, every penny that's being spent in real time, or as real as you can get it. These are the types of things that we need in order for the citizens of our city to become more engaged and to trust the process and the leadership of city government. In addition to that, the third thing is economic growth, right? Everybody wants economic growth. We got to get the jobs back. We have to get industry back. And so the plans for that to bring before council is for us to begin to not only develop more our current industries, yes, bring the manufacturing jobs, bring these things back, but also to begin to find ways to create new industry, create new types of jobs. We need to be focused on the future. As a young man myself, and working in IT technology as a programmer for 13 years, this is where the future is, and this is where I can see it. We have to find ways how to have partnerships with nonprofits and our local colleges and universities, and just local groups that get people trained for different types of job opportunities, because economics is economics, right? Economic growth is economic growth. Let's get people back to work. Let's get people making money, and let's get our economy boosted. We have to do it quickly. We have a couple of plans that I want to present before council concerning annexing. One way that we can try to increase tax base is to look at all four sides of Mullins. For those houses that are right outside the city limits, for those businesses there, let's have conversations. Let's sit down and talk. Let's try to find a way to make it work. Bring those individuals into the city limits, expand the city limits, and then we're increasing tax base. We know that I-73 has been in the works for so long. And I know, Michael, your hometown is in Mullins, so you know right there at what we call the fork of the road store, I-73 is going to be coming right down that portion of Highway 76, right? Going from up north to Horry County, to Myrtle Beach. And we know what that's going to attract eventually is more business, right? You're going to have more restaurants and different things, entities that want to come in order to be in reach of that. And so the best thing we can do now is start having conversations to annex those areas into the city of Mullins, so we could take advantage of it. So these are the out-of-the-box type of conversations that we need to have in order to grow our city. Focusing on unity, transparency, economic growth. Let's go after the big issues. Let's sit down with stakeholders in our community. Let's sit down with those individuals and those entities, those organizations and those groups that have vested interest in the place that we call home. Let's sit down with the young people that live here. Let's sit down with the ones that are trying their best to stay here and make a difference, trying not to leave and trying to grow from the inside. Let's sit down with them, see what we can do to make sure that they have the tools and the resources necessary. We got to focus on entrepreneurship. That's a big issue when it comes to economic growth. We have to learn how to support our local entrepreneurs, our local businesses, give them the tools that are necessary. Let's come up with the grants. Let's get the city to support these efforts. And I'm a firm believer that what we cannot accomplish as a city government, what we can't fund, that's when we reach out there and we create nonprofit partnerships, right? One of the first things that I would love to do as mayor of Mullins is to create a subcommittee of nonprofit partnerships. That's where we would bring to the table grant writers, we bring representatives from the city, and we will bring representatives from the nonprofits all around our area. Sit them down on one committee at one table and figure out how we can make these things work. Figure out how we can put programs in place to get our teens active, right? We have a great recreation program, but that's not for everybody. We have multiple after school programs here at the Dream Center. We're teaching programming and things like that. That's not for everybody. Let's figure out how we can get everybody serviced in some way so that we can really impact lives as a city. But it takes out of the box thinking, right? It takes us getting together and not saying, well, we can't afford it or liability, but it's coming together, coming up with thoughts and processes and coming up with systems and plans to really impact our city. And so that's what we're working on. We want to see downtown revitalized, right? We want to make it a place where people can come and people can enjoy. We want to make Mullins a place where people can work and live and play and worship and love the place where they live and be proud of the place that we live, that we call Mullins.
I love it. The passion is just dripping through the screen.
Oh, wow.
I love it. I love it. It's contagious. So, Robert, God forbid if things don't go your way or the way that you plan in your mind, will you still have the same passion for the city of Mullins?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Because this passion doesn't come from a simple opportunity, right? As I've been saying all day, it's what I'm made to do. It's what I believe I've been born to do, and that's to serve people. And so whatever capacity that I'm able to serve, the way that God sees fit is the way that I'll do it. And so I believe that even running for mayor is a God thing. It's a God idea. Nobody in their right mind will go after it without having a plan from God. And so that's why I'm just excited to do it, because I know at the end of the day, he's going to get the glory, right? At the end of the day, we're going to do what he tells us, and it's going to be accomplished in his will and in his time.
I love it. I love it. But Rob, we know this is politics. How has the support been? Is it there?
Yeah. Support from the community. Yes,
everyone. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. We've had support from the community. We're building an awesome team as we're on the campaign trail the best we can. COVID-19. We have a team that's going out. We're knocking on doors. We're making phone calls. The donations are coming in, and we're working together. There are many people that are excited. They're excited about what can be. They're excited about the change. And what I tell them is that if we really want change, it's time that we just stop talking about it and we actually use our voice, we use our vote, we use the power that we have, right? That's going out there and casting a vote. So yes, there's a lot of support from the community. There are a lot of support from people that are influential in different areas. There are a lot of people that want to see this happen. And because they want it, because they're tired of the normal, because they see where our city is now, and they see where our city could be, they're backing this. They're backing. It's not just a campaign, it's not just an election, but it's a movement. And when you can kind of grab hold to a vision of change, then you can really make some things happen.
I love it. Definitely. So Robert, remind us, Election Day, when is that date?
Yeah, absolutely. It's November 3rd. So it's right there with the presidential election. And so when we go out and we vote for our president, we'll also be voting for those who live in the city of Mullins. You'll also be voting for Mayor of Mullins. And so again, I urge you, don't just say, hey, we support and this is what we want. You got to go out there. Good thoughts are good, prayers are good, but get out there and you got to touch that ballot to make it work.
That's it. Vote. November 3rd. Vote.
That's
Robert.
right.
Robert, encouraging words for the viewers out there that are just, maybe having a tough time in this season and just kind of need some words of encouragement.
Yeah. I just would like to say that just understand that this too shall pass, right? And I know that's something that we say oftentimes in the church world, but it's a statement of truth. And I believe that it's so vital, and it's even more alive now in this time. We can really see through the lenses of the Spirit and through the lenses of hope that this got to pass. You know, this cannot be what God has intended. And what I mean by that is where we are in the midst of a pandemic, where we are in the midst of social injustice, and with the various riots and just with violence. This has to pass because God's going to get the glory out of it, right? And as I said before, if God puts us in a place, that means He put us there to thrive. We have to steward the moment. If He put us there to thrive, then we got to survive. He's going to give us the tools to survive. So steward the moment. This is the time when we go out there. Yeah, you got to start the business. This is the time when you have to go out there. Yes, you have to do what you've always desired to do, right? You have to put these things to work and believe and trust, not only in God, but trust in yourself. That you can be used to do a work, and I've been seeing it ever since this has happened, ever since March. Believe it or not, even in our ministry, we have 12 businesses. We have a dozen businesses within our ministry that have launched and are successful. People are going out there and they're doing things and they're making money, and they're seeing that everything that they've wanted to do pre-COVID is happening in the midst of COVID, and that's encouraging by in itself. And so I bring that up just to let you know that, again, this too shall pass. And whatever God has placed in you, whatever that desire, whatever that dream is, whatever that thing that passion point in your heart, you have to go after it. You got to chase after it. Don't be afraid of failure. Don't be afraid of rejection. Don't be afraid of the naysayers and the haters. You have to do what God has placed in you. And when you do it, the Bible tells us in the book of Proverbs, He said, commit thyself unto the work. And He said, the thought will be established. I believe that God is looking for us not to wait until He does it for us to work, but He's waiting for us to work. Then He said, I'll do it. So that vision, that dream that He gave you, He says, I'll do it when you say yes. When you say yes to the stress, when you say yes to the work, when you say yes to the result, He said, then I'll establish the thought. So this too shall pass. The heartache, the struggle, it's going to go away. But you have to just trust God. We don't know how it's going to look 2 years from now. We don't know how it's going to look 6 months from now. But what we do know is that God is God. He's not going to leave us nor forsake us. He's God.
That's it. Because this too shall pass.
That's right.
I love it. I love it. How can they find you on social media?
Yeah, you can find me various ways. My personal page, Pastor Robert Woodbury. Actually, it's Pastor R. Woodbury. You can also find us on the campaign social media, Woodbury for Mayor, and that's Woodbury, WOODBURY, for Mayor. We're on Facebook. We are on Instagram. We have a new website that's going to be launching in August, Woodbury for Mayor 2020.com. And we love to hear from you. You can email us at woodburyformayor2020 at gmail.com as well.
Awesome. How can they give towards the campaign?
Yeah, absolutely. We have a Cash App that's currently available, and we have a PayPal that will be available in August as well. The current Cash App is Woodbury for Mayor, $ Woodbury for Mayor 2020.
Awesome, awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, Pastor Robert Woodbury.
Thank you.
On the next Michael Finkley, Monday, we have Mr. Jeffrey Lampkin with us as we talk about his days of American Idol, his radio show, his booming restaurant, and his fight with COVID-19. And we have Mr. Stephen Davidson with us as he talks about a protest almost gone wrong. Find out the details on the next Michael Finkley.
Hello, welcome back. Did you enjoy the interview? I hope you did. The thing I got out of that was my vote matters. If you want to see the person that you admire the most and you know they will do a good job in the seat, go vote. Go vote. This is a serious matter. Too many African Americans have died for us to have the right to vote. Go do it. I was watching the funeral of Congressman John Lewis on yesterday, and how he was a pillar for this movement of voting, our right to vote. Too many people have died. Too many people have sacrificed. Go vote. It matters. Thank you, Robert Woodbury, for being on our show today. We really appreciate you and we wish you well in your endeavors. On the next Michael Finkley Monday, we have Jeffrey Lampkin with us as he talks about his time on American Idol and also his brand new business that he has in Sumter, South Carolina. Also, too, his time with COVID-19. He's going to talk about all that with us. And also on Monday, so two-hitter on Monday, we have Mr. Stephen Davidson. I saw him on the local news here in South Carolina, and he has an amazing story to tell you. We need more people like him to stand up for what is right when it comes down to racism. So you will hear his story on Monday. Again, if you have not subscribed to our YouTube channel, please do so. Click that bell for notification, and you will receive information of uploaded content. Thank you so much for watching. Have a good weekend, and we'll see you Monday.